I think that Brother K really loves the spotlight. I think the problem with that in his case is that
Hello, Intactivists. Today I have a very special guest today slash volunteer because he does help POTS quite a bit. Scott White. First off, how are you, Scott?
doing good.
That's awesome. So, for those who don't know, Scott, who are you?
An intactivist doing this around 8 years, 9 years, I'd say. And started first time was in 2014. I met the Bloodstained Men, Nashville, Tennessee, Halloween 2014. They just posted on Facebook where they'd be, so I just went out there and hung out with them for a few hours, and I already know who Brother K was at that point because YouTube. So I watched some videos, saw his face, met some of the other guys. I think from the best I can remember, David Atkinson and Andrew Friedman were there too. We just talked. They did their normal demonstration thing of the signs and the flyers, and I just talked to them, and they gave me some facts on as to why I say cutting male still continues in America. The superstitious beliefs, that was the word that was used, which it is superstition. It was a pretty good word to use on that, as to why we still do it and how they try to clear it up. So that was my first experience. And then coming to California, I discovered the Bay Area activists, and they had an event, a protest, by the ACLU building, American Civil Liberties Union, because they were involved back, I think, in the year 2011 when San Francisco tried to get put on one of the ballots that people vote on as to what laws they want passed, banning infant circumcision in San Francisco, just that city. And someone had a petition. I believe the mayor's office said, okay, if you get a certain amount of signatures, we'll put it on the ballot. And they did get enough. And then the ACLU somehow stopped that. I don't know all the details on how they did, but I know that they had some funding and some money that prevented it from making to the ballot when it should have made it to the ballot because they met the requirement to get it on there. So that's why the variant activists were protesting outside of an ACLU building when they had a meeting. And I knew they'd be there from the Facebook group, and I met with them. And then that's how I got started as a member, going to their more demonstrations outside. And I kept going to them, and some of them were just on regular days, no special event, just out there in a location, a public spot where there's a lot of people walking by. And we would do the normal thing with the signs and the flyers. And other times it was bigger events, such as the gay pride parades. So thousands of people would go to that, and it was a good time to put the word out. And that has been, though, unfortunately stopped a few years ago. I think it was the lockdowns that happened in 2020 that put a stop and then to it, and then hadn't started again. And I did like that group, so I'd like them to become active again.
Okay, so you're saying that the Bay Area activists, they just aren't active, like they're done permanently or temporarily?
I don't know for sure, but it's looking like, they're looking like it's over with them. And I think that's unfortunate, especially because intactivism needs new people in the game and more. And these people in the group were very experienced and well educated, so they're valuable. So the reason that makes someone like that so valuable is, one, they're good at educating the people they encounter, which is what we do out there, telling them all the reasons that genital mutilation is harmful, telling the reasons that it continues. And also they're good for educating the new recruits, we'll say, the next people who want to get out there and do it, because it's not good when you're protesting and someone asks why and what's this about, why is it bad, and you don't have the answers. That's a problem. It makes you look incompetent. So it's good to have the experienced, educated activists out there educating the newer ones so that we always have the right answer. We always know what we're talking about.
So, with the Bay Area activists that did quite a bit, it seems like even protesting on ordinary days, is there any activist group on your radar that could fill the gap or fill the shoes of Bay Area activists that you know of?
Yeah, yeah. Who's going to fill the gap, fill the void, right? In this location, in that geographical location in California, no, I haven't seen anyone, which is unfortunate because I thought they had a pretty good thing going. The Bay Area activists, they were pretty, let's say, frequent. It looked like they were making a difference. I liked it. I see like Brett Screw Cockfight being the future. I like it. He's what, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, or Kansas. Okay, the Kansas part of Kansas City, and so in this, like I said, where the Bay Area tactics are, no. But as for Kansas City, Cockfight team, yeah, I see them having some potential. I would like it if they had the funding to start touring, to travel to different states, to travel all over. If their strategy here at this time is just, from what I've seen, football games, college football games, and they go and hang out, that's cool. He'll have a good time. And the stories I've heard from him are they go out there, they talk about football, they cheer, they talk about his cause, he gives them the facts, they drink some beer. Sometimes he gets invited back to college parties at the fraternities or sororities. They hang out and booze. It sounds like a blast. It sounds like he's really having fun. So I hope to see that continuing. It's pretty cool, which is different than just going out to a public place and doing activism there. But I think that's all right. That's good because that kind of how do I say, addresses or gets into a different area. It's a different approach to the situation, but that's pretty cool. So I'd like to see what future Cockfight would have if they had the means to fund it.
Okay. So, from the existing activist groups going on right now, do you have a favorite?
Favorite. There's not a whole lot to choose from there. So I would
Well,
say,
I mean, you got quite a few. You got Doc, you got Gaudaff, Bloodstained
yeah,
Men, Cockfight, Foragin, you have Your Whole Baby. Got quite a few.
yeah, I would say I don't really see what Your Whole Baby's doing. They don't seem to have accomplished much as far as I know, but maybe they are. Bloodstained Men, they seem to be the most effective as far as I know, because they got the funds, they got the people, they get the billboards, they go out there, they travel a lot. It makes a difference. One thing that really helps them a lot though is next level intactivism. And I've helped Daniel a lot with next level intactivism, database of sending out newsletters, calling reporters, getting the Bloodstained Men in the spotlight really is what next level activism accomplishes. And Bay Area activist was really cool when I was with them, and I liked them because I liked the people. I like that we got along. We talk about the issue, but we'd also talk about other things that we found interesting. So we were all pretty cool, friendly, interesting, like club, I guess you could say, people there, our friend group. We really did, come and get the job done. It did feel like accomplishing something. As for, and since that's the job they do, what I'd love to see is Cockfight going on tour and next level activism, bringing the reporters to them too. I think that'd be great. Galdaff, I I don't know what to expect of them. I know they're the Genital Autonomy Legal Defense Education Fund, which I know that's about fighting it in the courtrooms. And I really hope that that's very successful because it sounds like that has a lot of potential. it sounds like that could actually be very, very effective because when the law gets involved and there's lots of money in it, people will either step in to get the money or back off because they don't want to lose money. And if it's going in our favor, say suing people for doing this, suing people for harming babies, then yeah, I think that'll get a lot of doctors to back off because they just don't want to risk a lawsuit. I know that in Nevada, the hospitals, main hospitals, do not do this any longer. The insurance wouldn't cover it. I think that's it. And I think they had malpractice suits, and the hospitals like we're just not going to take the risk any longer. But doctors and like private clinics, their own personal own runs, will do it. But that looks like progress to me. I know it's not going to be the overnight thing, the quick change. It's good. What's going to win this is going to be small victories that finally puts a stop to it. A lot of other intactivist groups that you would see pages for on Facebook, they don't respond. It looks like there's no one really manning them. I don't like that, so that's disappointing. So that's the best I could say for a favorite. I wouldn't choose one. I would just say that yeah, Bloodstained Men at the moment are the most effective, but I really think Cockbite's got potential. I'd like to see what they can do if they had the money for it. They might be one of the best if they could, because they're successful so far. It's just funding and not many people with them that's holding them back.
So that's interesting that you've been working with Next Level Intactivism promoting the Bloodstained Men. So there's some rumors going around that the Bloodstained Men don't want to get promoted by Next Level Intactivism. Can you put that to rest? Have you talked to Brother K and Daniel Rold, and do you know if their relationship is good or bad?
Okay, so Brother K gave me a vague answer on this, but he pretty much said that he and Harry, who's their media outreach member, believe that intactivists are free to contact the press about any matter. So, I mean, that answer pretty much says yeah. I would say that I'd take that answer as a yeah, green light, go for it. If you want to tell the reporters when the Bloodstained Men are in their city, go ahead. Sounds like he's saying go for it. And Daniel Rold has told me himself that Brother K has expressed gratitude to him for doing that. So that's what I've heard. That's what they tell me. So that's what I'm going with it.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a relief that Brother K and Bloodstained Men and Daniel Road and Next Level Intactivism is getting along. It's good to see cohesion in the intactivist group.
Yeah, it is a good thing. It is because on this matter, right? The public exposure, it's everything, right? If the public has to hear your message in order for it to educate the public, and the news reporters publishing or printing and putting on the internet articles about these guys, I think makes it reach further to more people than just them standing around outside telling people.
So, what do you think about the Bloodstained Men?
They are not very supportive of other groups. Daniel Bryce first got is associated and talking with Potts, and Daniel came into a meeting with the financial advice, and then Daniel was successful by taking financial advice from Potts, and then Potts came into a meeting with the Bloodstained Men and offered to give 10% of proceeds in financial advice, and they thought it over, and Brother K rejected that and accused Potts of being a scam. So Daniel Bryce still stayed with them for a while after that, and then later the Potts proposed the question that if Foragin could use the severed infant foreskins for their research, which would help advance the technology, advance the whole process, right, and get men restored sooner. Would you approve of that? And most of the people asked said yes, but Daniel Bryce was disgusted by that question. He said, hell no. and then he accused the people asking advice, everyone who said yes to that, as being as bad as the cutters. In which then I said, well, why do you think it's so bad? He said, well, of course, you're just using something from someone who didn't have a choice, that was forced on them. And we are saying, well, yeah, that's true that they didn't have a choice, but it's for the cause of fixing the damage done. And I said, so then what do you think about the infant circumcision videos on the Bloodstained Men website? Those kids in those videos didn't approve of the video being on the website. Is that also kind of the same thing there? Isn't that double standard? He actually did admit that was a double standard. I think that other intactivist groups are rather good, and that uh, the Bloodstained Men should try to promote them, such as Cockfight. They have toured some, but most people don't know about it. And I think that if more money went to Cockfight, they could do a lot more. And I understand that the donation money that goes to intactivism is limited. It's only so much. And I think that maybe it would be better spent. It would be better for the cause overall if other touring groups got more, which would come at the expense of the Bloodstained Men getting less, because I think the Bloodstained Men have more than enough, and other groups are not getting what they need. And these other groups can do well. They can thrive if they have more money and more people. So I think it would be great if the Bloodstained Men would speak highly of the other groups, because they're out there trying to do the job too. And then the donors who may be very focused on the Bloodstained Men, and that's all they really know of intactivism, would understand that, oh, there's other groups out there doing this job. The Bloodstained Men think they're good. Okay, maybe you could try giving some money to them. Or perhaps the Bloodstained Men could take a look at all the money they have and really decide, okay, what they need, and then whatever else they don't need, they could give to those groups and encourage those groups to tour, or even, send some of their members over there to go with them too. And it's also a problem. I mean, it's bad. It causes division and tension and fighting that's all unnecessary within the movement, for anyone to slander other groups when they don't deserve it at all. And like when Daniel Bryce turned against POTS and said that it's a scam, said that on many servers, many different chat groups within Discord and Signal, when really it's not. And he knows that it's not a scam, actually, because he's benefited quite a lot from the financial advice that he received from it. So he knows it's good financial instruction, and that he should not have said that.
Yeah, so quick side note, when he says financial advice, he means general, because POTS gives general advice for financial. So obviously do your due diligence. Don't take everything I say as personal financial advice. And even Daniel Bryce on the interview, he said that he always does his due diligence when listening to POTS. So POTS does not give personal financial advice, just so the listeners out there know that. So, Scott, did Prevail Over the System do anything to instigate this? Like, did they talk bad about the Bloodstained Men in any of their videos, or did they like have any grudges or any kind of did they instigate this in any way, shape, or form?
No, no, POTS didn't deserve this. This seems to come from just a difference in belief in what is acceptable in order for 4Gen to be successful, to get their research completed. And Prevail Over the System is striving to help people with general financial advice, to help them make good financial calls, decisions, and to help intactivism, and to use money gained through good financial decisions, investments, to help intactivism, to fund it. So for anybody to lash out at pods, like has happened from Bloodstained Men member. This one, yeah, it looks like it's just a personal disagreement on his part, and I think it's a overreaction. If he doesn't approve of that, then okay, fine, I can respect he doesn't approve, as hypothetically using the foreskins in the research. Okay, but for him to start saying that Prevail Over The System's a scam when he knows for sure that it's not, because he's been with them, he has taken general financial advice from him, he has profited from that advice. Well, then he knows he's lying about Prevail Over The System, and that's very wrong to do.
So, Scott, it seems like there's obviously some issues with this Daniel Bryce character. Do you have any other kind of critiques or anything else to say about the Bloodstained Men in general?
I think that Brother K really loves the spotlight. And I do understand that you need to be in the spotlight for your voice to be heard. I think the problem with that in his case is that he wants it all to himself and, okay, I guess a few of his close buddies in the Bloodstained Men. The problem that creates is that it pretty much silences the rest of the intactivists. So it makes the intactivism movement a much quieter voice than it could be if he was willing to give the spotlight to other intactivists, pass the torch even, because it's going to be that time for him soon, within a few years. Then what would happen is more intactivists will become well known, and then I think that the media would become more familiar with more people in the intactivist movement. They would understand it's a bigger movement because more people will be in it. They'd be wanting to talk to more of them. There'd probably be more interviews. It would spread more that way. People outside the general public would become outside of the movement, so would become more familiar and aware with the movement because they'd see more people in it, and it'd make them actually more willing to join in. The less people doing it, the less they want to. It kind of tells them, oh yeah, that's not good, that's not cool, because only like 3 people want to do that. But if they have more people getting in the spotlight, becoming famous for this, then it's going to send the message to the people that, look, a lot of people really support this, huh? Well, there's got to be a legit reason why, and it'll get them interested in it. So I think it's actually rather detrimental to the cause for anyone to be stealing the show, staying in the spotlight every single time, and taking it away from anyone else who has something valuable to say. Because, yeah, that it prevents the other people's thoughts from getting out there, which could be different from yours. Just because we're all there, we don't all think the same. We may know things others don't. We may have a better way of saying it, and if you don't let them say it, then that message does not make it to the public and through the media, and that's important that it does.
Okay, so do you have any like examples of Brother K stealing the spotlight?
There was a time when I was with him at the Super Bowl protest, and the reporters were there to talk to us, and I was going to go with him in front of the cameras, but he told me not to. He told me to stay there. At one protest I did mention, since we were on the topic of intactivism self-destructing, I mentioned that the Brother K is a glory hound. And I said that because of that, I think that if the president made circumcision illegal tomorrow, that would actually make him angry because he wouldn't get any credit for putting a stop to it. And the intactivists with me agreed. I think cockfight should be the future of intactivism. I think that they're very charismatic and enthusiastic. So I think that it would be great for cockfight to tour a lot more. They have some, and they need to a lot more, because when they get their word out, people have a fun time being the people in their group, and the people they talk to have a fun time. And I think that's going to look real good in the news as well, because then it's going to show to the people who see it on the news that, oh, look, yeah, these people who protest circumcision are pretty cool, and they have a positive message, and it's going to get people to want to listen. So I think it's very important that we do what we can, that we help make cockfight the future of intactivism, not at the expense of anyone else's success.
So, do you know Brett Johnson?
Yes, we talk sometimes. I've met him a few times. I think Brett's a good guy. He's a team player. So I really think Cockfight would do well to help other inspire other intactivist groups and guide them too.
All right. Well, we are going to take a break right here. I'm sure Scott has given you guys a lot to think about. Please keep in mind that POTS has fans and guests from all different countries and viewpoints. And what I love about Scott is he isn't afraid to say what's on his mind. Please leave a comment if you want to see Scott back on the show or just your thoughts in general. Also, please subscribe. It really does help. And thank you for watching.